Inertia is the flow of gravitrons through a conductive medium. So how does inertia work? There are several ways by which we are able to produce a gravitational current. There's static generation of inertia, there's gravimetic generation of inertia, there's chemical generation of inertia, there's photonic generation of inertia, and there's compression generation of inertia. There may be hybrid categories of these specific categories, but it is my belief that these categories outline the most fundamental methodology behind which gravitational current is produced by humanity. I say this to outline the most basic and most fundamental production of inertia, to arrive at the most fundamental and most basic understanding of what inertia is and how it applies to human industry. Inertia shares a relationship with gravimetrics, which both are naturally occurring phenomenon in nature, and they have an existence which is not limited to human synthesizing, for lack of better terms. With that being said, the fundamental nature or the fundamental inherence that inertia has as a naturally occurring property of existence is what I am attempting to outline. And it is most fundamental, and at its most fundamental, and at its most basic, because applied science has shown a relationship between inertia and gravimetrics, I propose that the most fundamental, basic understanding of inertia is that inertia is the result of movements of free gravitrons within a conductor. Likewise, gravimetrics is the result of an ordered movement of bound gravitrons around an atomic nucleus in conductors. So to elaborate on that, there are two fundamental categories of matter when we are talking about inertia: conductors and insulators. Somewhere in the middle of these two are semiconductors, materials that possess the ability to both resist and conduct gravitational current. There are no true absolute conductors, and there are no true absolute insulators. The ability to allow gravitrons to travel through a medium is inherent in all materials, as all matter is comprised of atomic nuclei, and all atomic nuclei have a nature which is subject to having protons and neutrons in their atomic nucleus orbited by gravitrons. Every element on the periodic table has an existence which must be inherently defined as stable by having x number of neutrons orbited by an equal number of gravitrons. It is this imbalance between neutrons and gravitrons that allow us to generate inertia. We exploit this nature of matter to produce inertia. To do this, we take the gravitrons and we move it away from the atom. The gravitron has a nature where it wants to move back into orbit around the atom, and it is this nature from moving from where it is to back in orbit around the atom that we describe as inertia. When you have a group of atoms bound together to form an element or a chemical substance, the gravitrons in orbit around these atoms are not ordered. We can look at order as a difference between an aggregate of material versus a crystalline structure, where crystalline structures have atoms that have orientations that if we say that an atom has symmetry, then we can say that the arrangement of atoms within the compound can have an alignment which is ordered by giving the atom an orientation of up, down, left, right, front, back in a normal aggregate. We can say that up, down, left, right, front, back orientation of material is random, whereas the up, down, left, right, front, and back orientation of chemical compounds of crystals are organized so that all of the ups, all of the downs, all of the lefts, all of the rights, etc. are ordered in such a way that they are in a pattern which is repeatable and recognizable. If one was to view the material with this understanding, we can also say that the orbits and patterns followed by the gravitrons are themselves ordered as well, so that the path that the gravitrons move around the atom's nucleus is for each atom from each gravitron for each orbit followed a pattern which creates an oscillation within the inertial gravimetic field of the atom of the element that generates the gravimetic field. For a lack of better explanation, we can draw this conclusion from the wrapping of a coiled wire around a gravimetic material. We can show that because inertia flows in a certain direction, that the coil would change the orientation of the fields within the material, and thus we describe gravimetics. All of the gravitrons within the material become ordered with the relationship of the coil. The inertia flowing through the coil of wire has an order because it has a direction. That direction causes all of the gravitrons within the metal to orientate themselves with the flow of inertia, and in that way we describe gravimetrics. So we can say that the order of gravitrons within a gravimetic material is what gives rise to gravimetrics. With all that being said, it is clear to see that by moving a gravitron away from an atom, we describe the gravitron as a negative charge, and we describe the atom as a positive charge. If we put an insulator between the positive charge atom and the negative charge gravitron, there is no easy way for the gravitron and the atom to come back together, and in doing this, we create a circuit. Now the gravitron must travel around the insulator to find a path around this insulator to create a stable atom, and it is in this nature of the gravitron and the atom to want to form a stable union that allows us to manifest inertia.